Okay, so all we're going to be doing in this video is I'm going to be showing you how to set up databases with PostgreSQL. So all PostgreSQL is that basically it allows you to use SQL but with spatial data types. So with normal SQL, right, you're allowed things like varchar for strings and I think it's integer for numbers or whatever it is. Yeah, and you've also got things like date time and such. But with PostgreSQL, you can have things like points, lines, and polygons and such. So in order to get PostgreSQL, and also what it can do, which is really great, is that if you're using things like GIS, so QGIS or ArcMap or something, chances are you're going to be using shapefiles. And with PostGIS, which is an extension, it's kind of like a package or a module in Python. It will allow you to convert shapefiles into SQL files. So essentially it takes maybe a polygon, which is a shapefile, and then it will convert that into an SQL file. So it'll have it'll have a table of itself, and it'll have let's say a column which would be the ID of that polygon, and then it would have a column which would be the shape, the area of that polygon, the geometry. You could do within, so for example, you could do a point within a polygon, you could do a polygon within a polygon, you could do the intersection of a line across the polygon, and so on. But anyway, so first I'm just going to download PostgreSQL, which I've already done previously. I downloaded that from there. Eventually get to a point where you have to create a password. So write down that password because you'll be needing that for the next bit. Just a side note here that when you get into the actual finishing the download, make sure that you go ahead and leave stackbuilder coming up once you've finished, because then you want to go down to spatial extensions and add in PostGIS. This will be the extension or the package which you'll be using later. So just make sure that you have that ticked, and then you can go ahead and hit next and finish up. And then once you're done with that, you can go ahead and click next down here, and then this little window will pop up for PostGIS. So you just want to click create spatial database and hit next, and it'll just be added into where you need it. Now if we go down to our command prompt, and if we go to the folder where we actually have it saved, so it should be in here, 13, we go into the bin folder. So if you need to change drivers, just do it like this, G or D or whatever it is. Mine is just on the C drive, so I don't need to change that. Then all you need to do is you just have to do, let's get out my note here. You need to type in PSQL hyphen capital U Postgres. Now I just need to pass in my password, which I created before when I downloaded PostgreSQL, and then you can see we're inside it. Great, for the last little bit, now that we're in Postgres, we can now go ahead and actually create a database. So I'm just going to create a database real quick. I'm just going to call it, create a database, let's call it test1 will do, and just add a semicolon at the end. So then it should say create database, which means that it's actually been created. Now what we're going to do is we've got to essentially just go into that database. We'll just do /C, then do test1, the name of the database. It'll now say you're now connected, so now we're actually in the database that we've created. And then I'm going to add PostGIS to it, so like the package, the Python package essentially, which will allow you to use its capabilities. So PostGIS allows you to do polygon and within intersects, that kind of thing. So let's just create that extension. Extension has been created, great. So now we have the database, which can now take geospatial data types, right? So I'm just going to show you, I'm going to create a table for this database. So I'm just going to call it create table. I'll just call it, let's just say plants. Yep. Create table plants. And so inside the plants table, I'm going to have a plant ID, and that's just going to be an integer, and then I'll set that as the primary key. And I'm also going to add in just a geospatial point. So these plants are going to have points, of like where the plants are, right? So I'm just going to say, I'll call the column location, location point. That's the name of the column. And this is a point type. It's kind of like an integer type or something. And I'm just going to say this is not null, so there has to be a plant and it has to have a point, right? It has to be like at a location. So I've now added all the columns that I've wanted to add. You could add more if you wanted to. And if you wanted to add more, you could just type in PostgreSQL, change the version kind, and you can see all the types you got there. So for example, you got points, lines, polygons, and all that. Great. Yep. So let's just finish this off. So I'm just going to finish with close bracket and a semicolon. And now the table has been created. So now in the next video, I will show you how to do just some general queries and how to convert a shapefile into an SQL file. If you ever want to go back into this database, you just have to do what I did up before. So just PSQL-U Postgres, go into that, type in your password, and then you can just do /C immediately. You don't have to do create database, just do /C, the name of the database, and you'll be inside that database.